unplugged. Hey, you can see us. Hello. Hello, this is Tom. This is Riz. Hello, thanks for joining us from Hangzhou here in China. We are broadcasting live. Hope you can see us and hear us as well. The internet connection may be a bit flaky, so we'll see how we go. Apologies that the live comments are not turned on, neither are the comments for now, but yeah, we'll get by this evening. No, so we'll try and do our regular live stream show. And also do a bit of a wrap up as well, Riz, of our time here in China. Thanks to ZEEKR Australia doing a media tour for us here in Shanghai, Ningbo, and Hangzhou. It's been a big day, Riz, so far, hasn't it?
Massive day, Tom. I think we've got a lot to talk about on that and the kind of activities we've been involved with the last couple of days. And yeah, the EV industry here in China is basically every car. It's what is that?
Yeah.
We don't know the brands, or even if we know the brands, the models are just amazing. So it's been really exciting to be here, and I'm sure we'll get to share some of it. Plus, we've been checking out Tom's live stream so far and all the social stuff that we've been posting.
That's right. So yeah, I mean, you know, being in China, Tesla is kind of like the odd one out. It's almost hard to spot, whereas all the Chinese local brands, they are just so prolific and prevalent on the streets of Shanghai and Ningbo, and also here in Hangzhou. It's absolutely incredible. The uptake, I think I heard today from someone, it was about 40% uptake in Shanghai, and largely due to the fact that you have to buy a plate here in Shanghai or in China in general, and in Shanghai the plate for an EV is free essentially, whereas it costs money to buy a plate for non-EVs, ICE, even for hybrids. So that's probably part of the reason why there's such high uptake.
Yeah, massive uptake in Shanghai, and I think that's going to drive quite a lot more people to think about getting an EV here. And all of those EVs, I mean, these cars that we're seeing, they look like world-class cars.
Yeah.
Some of them we've got in Australia, but the stuff that we're testing and looking at with ZEEKR here, it's premium, and I think it's probably some of the best that's out there, and really exciting to bring you more content on what that's been like to drive and what we can expect with ZEEKR and other brands as well. Really exciting.
Yeah, so and Riz and I have been managing to post on social media, via X, via Facebook, LinkedIn, but with my vlogs, they're just quite big, so I will have to wait till I go home to upload those for you. So stay tuned for that one. Pretty detailed, some of those vlogs. Some of the stuff we've seen here is quite incredible. Riz, the brands that we've seen so far on the roads here, like ZEEKR obviously is huge around this part of the world. Lots of 001s, 007s on the road, a couple of X's as well.
Yeah, prototype stuff, the stuff that they just unveiled a couple of months ago, actually in April, so just 2 months ago in Beijing Auto Show. The Mix, we learned a little bit more about that. It sort of gives the the Volkswagen Combi vibes from back in the day. Some prototypes of those being driven around, and just the magnitude of everything. We also got to see the Li Mega, the Li Shan Mega today by accident. Just happened to pop up outside our hotel to pick someone up, and the driver was really kind. We had a chat to him and just showcased that.
Yeah. I just want to make sure our audio is working. Riz, do you mind looking at your group chat? I think we'll just make sure that our audio is all good. I think it was a message. Sorry about this, everyone. It's just going to work with us. That's not our usual conditions, but just make sure the audio is running for now. But yeah, we've seen other brands on the road here too. Lots of Ions too. ZEEKR, of course. Audio is good. Thank you, Riz. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and so far you've been watching my live streams, hopefully each morning, just to recap each day. It's quite clever what ZEEKR have done for us. They've sort of brought us to the R&D studio the first day, give us a glimpse of how they design their cars, and then the battery factory, and also the design
Car
factory, the
factory.
car factory yesterday, just to tease how it's made and produced. Battery factories today, or battery assembly plant, Vermt,
Yeah.
VERMT, I think it's
Yeah,
Vermt.
that's their Vermed
Mm,
Energy is their battery division. So
mm,
we actually got to see just how they make those battery
mm,
packs and really sophisticated stuff.
mm,
And what they're producing is going into not only ZEEKR products, the Volvo,
mm.
Link & Co, which is another one of their brands, Smart, which is also heading to
Geely.
Australia,
Mm,
another Geely owned company.
mm,
It's just the magnitude and scale of it. And Volvo EX30, which is already there as well. That's one of the other vehicles that we saw some Polestar
mm.
4s yesterday being
In
built.
the assembly plant, yep.
And we
Mm,
also saw some right-hand drive vehicles
yes.
being built and some vehicles that I don't think they've been announced for Australia. We saw a Volvo EM90,
Mm,
which is a people mover, a luxury people mover that we haven't seen, but ZEEKR says there's a potential 007, oh sorry, the 009, the big
009,
people
yep.
mover that will be coming to Australia. Um, you know, I picked Tom up in the EQE and we've driven some luxury cars before, but this ZEEKR 009 MPV,
Mm,
it's next level.
yep.
It's um, I think it will be quite exciting to see those sort of vehicles enter the Australian market and they're fully electric.
Yeah.
Anything, Tom, that you've seen apart
Mm.
from like all the other brands that we've sort of spotted? BYD is not as prevalent
No,
as we would have thought, although they sell so many cars.
I was surprised, and I thought I'd be seeing a lot more BYDs on the road. But you were saying, Riz, that the cars that are produced in the area, like ZEEKR, obviously, tend to be more prevalent in the area
Yeah.
that you sort of drive around. Obviously, the ZEEKR plant is around here, so there'd be a lot of ZEEKRs. I wonder whether there'll be more BYDs around Shenzhen, where they're built.
Exactly. So BYD, if you're listening, we need to get to Shenzhen and find out.
That's right.
But I'm sure that's sort of the case. Like when we were in Shanghai,
Mm.
we saw a lot of sort of models that we weren't aware of. Xpeng,
Yep.
Neo,
Yeah.
surprised at the number of Neos that are driving
Mm.
around. So I think Neo's got
Ions, we saw Ions as
Ions.
well. Yeah, Wuling, a couple of Wuling little cars as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely like every second car you look at, it's an EV. It's
Yeah.
just incredible.
Actually, we saw a pretty special car today, Toyota BZ3.
Yes.
Now, this is supposed to be sort of like a Corolla sedan-sized car,
Mm.
and Toyota's quietly launched it 12 odd months ago here in China, and it's running on the BYD blade battery, BYD motors, and basically the whole car is designed by BYD with the Toyota badge on it.
Mm.
And we saw one on the road, and I'm thinking, hey, there's an electric Toyota that is designed to be a ground up electric car.
Yep.
Um,
And it's got a lot of promise.
and
I mean, we haven't been too impressed with the BZ4X or even the Subaru Solterra, which is based on their first gen. So they keep telling us the new platform is coming. So
Yeah.
to see one in the wild today, and not even for test, right?
Yeah.
It was actually a consumer vehicle. It's very exciting times ahead. And today, obviously, we spent time at the Ningbo International Speed Park.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 009, we actually were allowed to drive that car around the track. Quite a technically challenging circuit, but this thing, because of the suspension, the air suspension that makes the ride so smooth, you're traveling at such high speeds and taking the corners at such high speed, but you're still pretty comfortable sitting in that car, right?
yeah. It's amazing. Like I was sitting in the back seat recording something, and the back seat is more comfortable than any gold class movie theater that I've been to. To watch a movie that you pay quite a lot of money for. It's and this is a people mover that is moving at high speed around this track. Um, Amazing how they've done that, and the whole car stays so planted.
Yeah.
And I think it has 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, 400 kilowatt of power. Um, 0 to 100, I think it was 4.5 seconds. One of the
Yeah.
fastest moving people movers out there, and it is luxury.
Yeah.
Like Really, really exciting stuff.
Yeah, it was referred to by one of the ZEEKR people I spoke to as the Shaquille O'Neal of the ZEEKR lineup because it's fast, it's quick, it's agile. It's an absolute beast on the track. And we got a chance also to drive the ZEEKR X, of course. That's the car that's coming to Australia. I think you guys and girls watching this will be very impressed at how good quality the ZEEKR X is. The materials in there is just top notch, and the car looks pretty good as well. It's like a large hatch, small SUV kind of segment, 4.6 meters in length.
Yeah.
I think, no,
4.4.
4.4, sorry, 4.4, 4.6 is the mix.
Yeah.
So I think it'll do well. I guess pricing is the issue, isn't it, Riz? I guess where do you price a car that size? Has it got to be under the Tesla Model Y at 55,000 in Australia?
And that's sort of the, I'm sure that's the answer that the Zika team and everyone's trying to find, because with the recent price cuts, as we know, with Model Y, it just makes any car, it has to be priced around about there, at least for people to try it out. I think a lot of people will be quite impressed. I'm definitely impressed at the way it handles the premium features that are sort of part of the package. Um, the under sort of the architecture is similar to Volvo EX30, which has recently launched in Australia. But yeah, this has unique features that I guess the EX30 doesn't have. But then I guess it's worth a test drive when you compare the two to know what they're like, especially when the Zeekr lands. And we'll have other offerings as well. Smart is coming, which is Smart's based on a similar sort of product architecture as well. But yeah, Zeekr is quite special.
Yeah, and Australia's going to be a fantastic, and New Zealand will be a fantastic test bed for these cars from China. Obviously, Europe and US are now introducing tariffs for Chinese-made vehicles, but Australia doesn't seem to have any of that on the horizon, so we are just ripe to be testing this. So sorry about that, guys. Here we go. We've got image at the moment. Okay, sorry. Again, I do apologize for any sound audio issues. We are relying on the local cell network at the moment, so hopefully we will get through this stream. But yeah, lots to chat about from that point of view. And it's funny, class, they haven't finalized the I guess the specs or the inclusions or even the colors yet for Australia. So all these things, we want you, the audience, to tell us what kind of colors you want to see in Australia that would fit our market, even down to accessories. Like I had a chat with ZEEKR today about accessories, like what would be nice for the local market, right? I know you guys love your accessories. I do a lot of accessory reviews, so karaoke mic, maybe it is.
Hey, we've seen some interesting stuff. The karaoke mics, obviously. If you want Tom to do more videos about his karaoke skills, definitely we've got to test that out. Fridge. Apparently, there's a OEM made, as in ZEEKR makes their own fridges that you can put into vehicles. I'm not sure if it'll be available for our market. We did see something interesting yesterday. When the design team were telling us about the ZEEKR X and some of the things they're trialing from a passenger seating point of view.
Yes.
This may or may not come to Australia, but it is pretty cool to see. They call it the zero gravity seat.
Yes. It's like it's a reclining seat, but it's a bit more than that. It's like, what was it? It's like it lifted you up in the air or something.
And then it like tilted you, sort of like a dentist chair. I mean, that's
a good analogy. Yeah. I mean, the Hyundai, I know, has got a reclining seat like that, but yeah, I have to find out more details about what zero gravity means exactly. And in China too, the ZEEKR X, the screen can actually move from the center to the passenger side, and it's all legal to play a streaming service, a video streaming service on the passenger side, right? As I don't know in Australia we've got different rules, but that kind of comfort is what ZEEKR is aiming for, to be more human, human centered rather than driven by robots.
And I think what was really interesting as well, like the design point of view, what they're saying is that they want to test all these features in markets where, like China, where they may not have as many restrictions, where ADR, Australian design rules, are quite strict about a lot of things. That means that we're going to get some really interesting features, possibly over the air.
Yes.
Once these cars launch. And yeah, just really interesting to see how they sort of manage that with the over-the-air experience. This is what we sort of want. They reckon they will be pushing a few updates a year.
I heard three, at
Yeah,
least three. Yeah.
the three, yeah, that's I think maybe like big design refreshes,
Yep.
the UI, UX. But yeah, it'd be really cool to see what they do bring to the market. We don't know if the zero gravity seats will be making in as an additional feature, even if it's on the more top of the range trims,
Yep.
or the moving, the horizontally sort of
Screen.
gliding screen.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see brands try these new things, because otherwise there's a lot of the stuff that's the same old, same old.
That's right. Yeah. Again, having to comply with our local rules and regulations too. So yeah, interesting times ahead. Again, like I said, it's going to be a nice test bed in Australia and New Zealand and Southeast Asia, given there's no signs of tariffs entering our market for Chinese EVs. 16 minutes in, 81 viewers. Thanks, guys and girls, for watching. I know it's a bit different today. We don't have the live comments. We don't have live chat. Missing you guys and girls in the chat. We love interacting with you, reading your comments. It feels a bit, I don't know. I know it's nice having Riz in person with me for a change, which is great. But we do miss you as well in the chat. So we'll keep talking about ZEEKR, but we also want to talk about our regular news as well that we always talk about each week. So let's put on this to start with, Riz. Hopefully this works. Here we go. So just going through some of the stuff that viewers like to post for us and tagging us. I'll just wait to see. Hopefully, yep, we can see content coming up. That's good. So this is, so Tesla officially announcing hardware 5, FSD hardware 5. And then details from notes, not a TeslaApp.com, just comparing 5 and 4. Do you know much about this, Riz, hardware 5?
I've only heard rumors. I think maybe some of the stuff that Elon's been talking about that's circulated out. Something around 10 times better than hardware 4, and it will be out next year sometime, possibly early 2026. But the good thing with Tesla is we know that when they roll out stuff, it's generally in production before most people know about it.
Yep.
So being Shanghai, where we were in Shanghai a couple of days ago, things just seem to be moving at such fast pace that they would want to be getting out the latest and the best hardware out as quickly as possible. So we'll probably see that in the vehicles. This is a pretty exciting year for Tesla and EV industry more broadly, because we will get the Cybercab in a couple of weeks' time.
8th of August.
Yeah, that's full. That supposed to be self-driving. There's a couple of other models. If this hardware comes into those as well, what does that mean? Will we be, the owners that are looking at getting a car, will they be upgrading? What does all this stuff mean? So yeah, stay tuned. We'll cover here on Ludicrous Feed.
And the classic question that all Tesla owners ask, in fact, all EV owners ask, is, will there be a retrofit? Yeah. Where's the retrofit? I want my retrofit, right? We've been promised retrofits. Yeah, that's cool. So let's move on. And I forgot to start the show off with the Cybertruck watch. So this is interesting. So I want to make sure that this is playing before we move on. So yes, our regular segment, Riz, that you and I always do, Cybertruck watch. This is a very interesting wrap on this car, to this vehicle. And just speaking of which, the Teslas that we've seen in Shanghai and Ningbo and so on, it's very hard to spot an OEM color Tesla here. Pretty much every single Tesla Y3 has been wrapped, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought that wrapping was such a big thing, but here it's everybody wants a unique color, and we've seen some real sort of rustic colors. We've seen some stuff on vehicles that just haven't spotted in Australia yet. Another common theme we've seen is the lighter blue color. It seems to come up quite a bit. Light blue, it's sort of hard to tell. What would that sort of silvery blue?
Yeah, like it's almost like the BYD seal blue we see in Australia. That's right. Sky blue color.
Just a lighter version of that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's very popular. But yeah, wrapping of course, and there's no better vehicle to wrap than a Cybertruck, as we've seen different types of wrap.
Yes, rappers love the Cybertruck. So what do you think about this, Riz? This is a Cybertruck treated for reflection. Polish, I think they polished it. I mean, people who buy this vehicle love looking at themselves. Is that what this is saying? I mean,
well, it's unique.
Unique.
I've seen gold wraps, I've seen a whole lot of other wraps, but this is black, matte black is common.
Yeah.
Gloss black is common. This is just, yeah, unique.
It'd be interesting for other cars. I mean, could be confusing, seeing this on the road. Like, it'd be hard to maybe gauge. Or is it easy to gauge the distance from you to this car, given you can see yourself in the reflection? I mean,
Well, that's it. Maybe a lot of people are pulling out their phones to take a photo of it, and then they can see maybe it deflects people from taking a photo of the truck, because then they're like, oh crap, it's me in the photo.
that's right. You had to pose your best with this wrap for sure. All right, so that is that wrap, and then just back on this. So this is a bit more serious. So this is what is it? This is Tesla posting about production and things, and made the impossible possible with Cybertruck. Our goal is to ramp production to 2,500 units per week by the end of the year. Wow, look at all the Cybertrucks in this car park.
Yeah, it's very, very unique to see. I mean, they've recently confirmed at the shareholders meeting, they're producing over 1,300 a week at the moment. They'll get it up to 2,500. 2,500 is round about 125,000 vehicles a year. Their goal is to get up to about 200. They've also confirmed that there will be the Founders Edition, which they've been producing till now. It's quite a bit more expensive. They reckon that the Foundation series will end production shortly, which means that people can finally start to purchase a dual motor Cybertruck with a starting price of $79,900 in the US, and it's also apparently eligible for their tax incentives. So possibly some people in the next 6 months will be able to buy a dual motor Cybertruck for around about $72,500 is where it's going in the US.
Yeah.
And then next year will be the rear-wheel drive, which is cheaper than that, again, single motor.
So 72,000, about 100,000 in Australia, maybe a bit more. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see more of these on the road for sure. Let's move right along. So closer to home, just sticking with Tesla for the moment. So thanks, Gaffer. We know we can't see you tonight. We're missing you and everyone else on the live chat. We'll be back next week, back in Australia, interacting with you all again. But it was nice to have the Riz in person today. But look, this is Nashville in Wollongong. Nashville, because this is where Nash lives. We're seeing the V4 casing now for the Tesla superchargers down there, which is fantastic because we know the V4 cables are longer. You can plug into more EVs. It doesn't matter where it is now, because in the past with the V3, V2 cables, the ideal spot is in the back left corner because that's where Tesla charging ports are. But now with these longer cables, you can actually do the old pull around. More versatile, and now more chargers being enabled for non-EV. So this is a good move, Riz.
Yeah, definitely. Are these drive-through bays as well?
Sadly not, no.
Yeah, okay.
There's a brick wall. There's a concrete wall
right.
behind it there.
Can't see that. Sorry, yeah.
You could maybe with the Cybertruck, it could be drive-through.
Yeah, that's right. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But that's really good. More of these sites. Maybe Tesla's going on this. The whole thing that happened got rid of the whole charging team.
Yeah.
But all these projects are happening, so it means that there's a lot more being invested in the charging infrastructure, which is good to see.
Yeah, a lot of the team has been rehired, hasn't they? Haven't they? I've heard just quietly. Don't really hear about that in the main sort of mainstream news, but a lot of the team that was sacked by Tesla have been rehired in the US at least.
So yeah, it's happening. The supercharger rollout. I think there's at least another 3 odd sites. Chatswood, Hay in New South Wales, Campbellfield in Victoria, and there's one more, Springwood, I think, in Queensland, south of Brisbane, between Brisbane and Gold Coast. There's at least 3 or 4 sites being constructed as we speak, plus these upgrades are happening. Just good to see the infrastructure growing.
Yeah, that Chatswood site's going to be quite busy, definitely, given that it's in such a busy area. Chatswood's got heaps of EVs, heaps of Teslas, so a very good spot. I can see that being busy straight away. Now, we spotted a couple of chargers today. There's a ZEEKR branded DC fast chargers and also Lotus branded DC fast chargers at the Ningbo track. Yeah. And you said you saw it at 420 kilowatt?
Yeah, that's so. I had my runners on and I had to get closer to this Lotus charging station. Looks cool. Looks really futuristic. And you go up to it, and obviously, reading whatever I could, I saw 420 kilowatts on there. Not sure if that's what they can dispense, but for Lotus vehicles, we have actually we've spotted a couple of Lotuses being in China so far.
We saw an Ameo on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, the fast one. I'll show that on my live stream tomorrow morning, but we saw that just in the wild. That was
yeah.
pretty cool to see.
So they seem to be getting around. So yeah, good to see a charging station at this racetrack. Um, we also came across the ZEEKR charging stations next to that, and there was a member of the public charging there with an IM, which is another brand that's owned by the parent company of MG. But what was unique is that that person wasn't there on the track to do anything. They were just there to use a public charger. So public chargers seem to be in quite a few places, and yeah, 420 kilowatts at Lotus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 420 kilowatts. Zeekr been telling us about that the new Shenzhen batteries in their ZEEKR X.
Yeah.
And they can charge at, they keep telling us 10% to 80% in what, 11 minutes?
11:30. I think maybe in the 001?
001, I apologize.
yeah.
Not the X.
Yeah.
The 001. Can you imagine charging at, I mean, obviously we need the right infrastructure too to be able to charge that quick, but 11-minute charging, that's phenomenal. Like that's almost as quick as ice, really.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. We obviously today we also got to accidentally see the Lee Mega.
Yes.
That we know how fast it charges. We've covered it on the stream in the past. So I guess they'll be investing more in hyper fast charging here in China, and hopefully we get to see a bit of that in Australia in the coming years.
Yeah, I mean it'd be so good to demonstrate. It doesn't have to be everywhere, but along the main arterials, like in the Hume Highway, Pacific Motorway up north, the road from Melbourne to Adelaide, just those key roads, Sydney to Canberra, just have set targets, like set points where we have those quick charges in a big network, in a big area, lots of bays. That way you can make those quick trips down the Hume, the Pacific Motorway, the Federal Highway with those quick charges. Like that's the future we want to see, with decent, charging bays, decent amenities nearby. So it's easy to do those road trips, Riz. I know, it's a big country, Australia, but surely you can do those major highways for like what, 90% of travel, right? Most people travel on the main highways anyway. So that's what I'd like to see personally. All right, let's move along. So we've got our old friend Elon Musk here telling us that no Model Y refresh is coming out this year, 2024. That's a very common question to me, Riz.
Yeah.
When's the Model Y refresh coming out? So here we go.
Well,
from the horse's mouth.
It's apparently it's not coming out this year. They've got a whole lot of other products. But interestingly, on this trip, we got to speak to a few other journalists and others in the Australian car space. And some of them are basically saying that, the new Model 3 is clearly a level or a class above what the last one was at. So we can obviously understand why people are so eager to get the Model Y refreshed as well, because it genuinely is a big step up. But at the prices that Tesla's charging at the moment for a base Model Y, like rear-wheel drive, 61 grand, that's unheard of for a vehicle with that sort of features that the current generation has. And people that want stalks, it's got them. It's got the space, it's got the fast charging network. It's getting better as we discussed the Tesla supercharging network.
Yep.
Best value that it's been for a long, long time. So yeah, I think if you're thinking about making the switch, test drive a new Model Y and up. For 99% of the people that are looking at potentially getting a car, that is a lot of value.
Yeah, look, Tesla's still the market leader in Australia, at least. I know in China, BYD is probably on par now, maybe even overtaken the last 6 months in sales numbers anyway. But because Tesla is disrupting the price all the time in Australia, like you just can't help but look at that benchmark Model Y 55 before on roads, right? So brands like ZEEKR, brands like Kia, brands like Hyundai, they have to look at the Model Y price.
Yeah, XPeng, Smart, all of these brands that are launching, they will have to look at what's selling, and you don't have to look very far to know that Model Y is selling at the prices they're selling them. Another thing I thought about this week, Tom, we've been saying Tesla's losing money on, or they're not making as much money as they used to on the Model Y, and they're lowering prices. Coming here in China, the amount of EVs, and having visited some of the battery factory that we visited today, everything is produced at scale, at such high scale and precision, and raw material prices are coming down. So the battery costs are coming down considerably, which means that Tesla can pass on those savings, making it much harder for other manufacturers to do the same thing because of the scale at which they're producing it at. But I think it just goes to show the evolution of the industry. If there is opportunities in the Australian market, and we hope that Tesla and other brands looking at selling EVs can make the most of it while there is tariffs and other things in other countries. It's only good for us.
We live in exciting times. Great for us as consumers, knowing there's competition out there. More choice is only a good thing for consumers. And yeah, not having a tariff is a great test bed again. Like I keep saying, I feel like we're embracing a new horizon, right? Having been to China now, like they are excited for us because they know we are ripe. The EV market is going to take off in Australia.
It's fantastic, and even that lady that I spotted charging her IM, as I mentioned, it's sort of a luxury version of MG. She was kind enough for me to take a photo of the interior as well.
Oh, nice.
And just looking at it, it is a step up above what MG sells. Like Tom, we've driven the MG4. We know the software is good, but it can be better. And what I saw there, just one photo and having a look at it as she was charging, it's happening very, very quickly. And these cars are already being produced, which means that we're going to get a pretty quality product. So yeah, I think it's something to be excited about.
I mean, I learned something at the assembly plant, the factory at ZEEKR, the intelligent factory, that they can turn over a car in 26 hours.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. 26 hours, a new car comes off the line, and we saw it in action.
So it was like from raw materials. So from basically getting the basic shell together to a car being quality tested and driven off the line, ready to be put on the back of a truck to be sent somewhere, whether it's to export markets or basically locally here. It's 26 hours. It's
mind blowing.
Yeah,
it really is mind blowing. Yeah.
And we got to see something pretty interesting today. We went to the battery factory, but as part of the battery factory, we actually got to see the production of drive units. So these are the front and rear motors that go into your Polestar 4s, obviously a lot of the ZEEKR products, Smart and others. The automation in that factory, next level.
It's so sanitized. Like there's not many workers. They're there just to watch and I guess maintenance, quality control, but the robots do a lot of the work, and it's such high quality robotics as well, and everything is just so organized. They've got uptime measures, they've got incident reports. It's
live dashboards. We saw basically walls full of like live dashboards. How many panels, solar panels have they got on the roof? How much energy it's currently producing? How many cars or how many units are they supposed to produce on that day? And then even things like recognizing the top employees. They had like an employee, and they were talking about the customers they're producing those batteries and drive units for. So it had a list of them and who their partners are from a battery technology point of view, like CATL. Very, very impressive. Tom, you mentioned earlier the robots in the factory. I was quite surprised at the type of robots, having worked in manufacturing plants in the past. They're all ABB, KUKA, some of Siemens. These companies are just known for automation and factory products, and the whole plant looked like it was very, a very safe place. We saw some of the safety scores and the safety trackers. But also just how automated things are. You got to see, or we both got to see basically, the tire robot. How cool was that?
That was really cool, actually. That was definitely a highlight for me, watching this massive robotic arm just latch on this wheel onto a car just go boom straight in, all the wheel nuts done up at the same time. And I think someone made in the comment in our group like, "Wow, that's the Formula One history of sorry, the future of Formula One pit stop, right? Car comes in, it's
And it
gonna
gets
be
everything, it's
sub
ready
1
to
second
go.
pit stop."
20, I think a lot of those at that time, the vehicles they were working on either had 20 or 21-inch wheels. So these were
Yes.
not small wheels, they were just ready to bolt on. Today, we got to see some pretty interesting stuff where they were making these drive units with the stator and just how those robots work, and everything's very, very impressive. These drive units, they sort of go in the back of the car, so the rear motors, you've got the main motor component, you had the inverter inbuilt, and a reduction gearbox at the end of it. All of those components just come together at the end of this manufacturing plant, all quality assured,
Yep.
packaged, and ready to be sent off to either their own factories or their other customers that will use those drive units.
Yep.
Pretty phenomenal stuff.
And I really enjoyed seeing the prismatic cells in action too. Like, you know, a cell pack is like 3 kilograms, about 1 kilowatt hour, I think I was told, in size. And we saw a battery pack in the car, 100 kilowatt hours worth of LFP prismatic cells.
Yeah.
That was quite an eye opener for me too. So yeah, I mean, the quality of the manufacturing process is just phenomenal. I was completely blown away.
And one thing that is, I sort of picked up that this is probably the rest of the industry as well. It's not just the one plant that we're getting to see. It's probably the rest of the industry, because in order for you to stay competitive, you have to produce more. And to produce more, you have to do it very quickly in a competitive market like China that's making trees for the world. It's just really exciting. Products that we're getting are going to be pretty quality and stuff that we already get. You know, whether it's a Tesla, G's, made in batteries and production plants that are world class.
Yeah. And watching I think telling us the plant manufacturing plant, that in pretty much the entire output or the energy from the plant can be reduced over photovoltaics on top of the battery. So that was quite impressive for me. So.
Right. So,
All right, let's move on. I know a bit of a tangent, but we know it's just exciting times at the moment. Yes.